Have you ever felt changes in your body that you couldn't quite explain? Maybe your energy dipped for no clear reason, or your sleep suddenly changed, or your weight shifted, even though nothing in your routine was different. Many of my patients have asked me the same question, wondering if this was simply another chapter of getting older. One of my patients, a kind 76-year-old woman named Margaret, once shared that she had been feeling unusually warm at night, more irritable during the day, and bloated after meals. She told me she brushed it all off as normal aging. Months later, after deeper testing, she learned these changes were actually linked to silent hormonal shifts that were quietly fueling inflammation in her body. These shifts were influencing her cancer risk long before she felt anything obvious. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Your body has relied on certain hormones your entire life to regulate energy, repair cells, reduce inflammation, support digestion, and keep your immune system alert. But after 60, hormones like estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, melatonin, and thyroid hormones begin to decline slowly and quietly. These changes don't scream. They whisper. And because those whispers mimic everyday aging, they are often missed until they have already affected how your cells behave. Most seniors never hear about this because appointments are short, symptoms overlap with normal aging, and many people don't mention subtle changes they've been living with for years. Hormones shift gradually, not suddenly, and early signs can be so gentle that they go unnoticed. That is why today's video matters. I want to help you understand which hormone changes after 60 raise cancer risk, the small symptoms that may signal imbalance, the types of cancer most strongly influenced by these shifts, and the steps you can take to stabilize hormones naturally and protect your long-term health. If you find this helpful, please subscribe, like, and share Senior Health Daily. Your support helps us continue creating life-changing guidance for you. Stay with me until the end of this video. There is hope, clarity, and empowerment waiting for you. The cancer risk surges after 60. When we reach our 60s, something subtle but powerful begins to happen inside the body. Most people don't feel it at first. There isn't a sudden shift or a dramatic event that tells you things are changing. It feels more like a gentle slowdown, like your body is whispering instead of speaking clearly. And yet, the science behind this stage of life reveals a truth many seniors never hear. The internal systems that once worked like clockwork begin to lose their strength. And this makes cancer easier to develop and harder to detect early. I often explain it this way. Your body is still strong and capable, but the internal alarms grow quieter. The immune system, the very defense that once caught abnormal cells quickly, begins to weaken. It doesn't send strong warnings the way it used to. Instead of sounding the alarm as soon as a dangerous cell appears, the immune system may react slowly or not at all. When this happens repeatedly, early cancer can grow silently. At the same time, inflammation becomes more common. Seniors often tell me they feel a little stiff, a bit swollen, or just tired today. So, not realizing these sensations can be signs of chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is one of the strongest fuels for cancer development. It keeps the body in a state of irritation, wearing down healthy cells and making them more vulnerable to changes that can eventually turn dangerous. Metabolism slows down as well. The body processes food, toxins, and hormones less efficiently. What once took hours now takes longer. Waste builds up more easily. Detoxification becomes slower. When the body takes longer to clear harmful substances, the risks connected to those substances become stronger too. Digestion also changes. Food stays in the system longer. Seniors often describe feeling heavier after meals or experiencing more bloating than before. These small changes increase exposure to toxins and irritants, especially from processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats. And then there are the hormones. These natural chemical messengers gradually decline after 60. When hormones weaken, the body loses some of its ability to regulate inflammation, control cell growth, and repair tissues. This creates the perfect environment for cancer cells to grow quietly. all these changes together or explain why cancer risk rises so sharply after 60. Not because the body is failing, but because it needs more support, more awareness, and more compassionate attention. If you understand this foundation, the next section will open your eyes even more, because we'll explore the hidden hormone shifts that quietly shape cancer risk in older adults. The hidden hormone shifts that increase cancer risk. As we move deeper into this topic, I want you to picture something simple. Hormones are like quiet messengers traveling through your body, delivering instructions that keep everything balanced. They guide how you sleep, how you digest food, how your mood feels, how your immune system responds, and even how quickly your cells repair themselves. For decades, these messengers worked reliably in the background. But after 60, their voices soften, their timing changes, and their signals become easier to miss. That is when trouble can begin. Take estrogen and progesterone. Many women assume the big hormonal changes end after menopause, but they don't. Estrogen continues to decline with age, and when the body produces less of it, inflammation rises. Higher inflammation makes it easier for certain cancers, especially breast and uterine cancers, to develop quietly. Progesterone also shifts in later years. When it becomes imbalanced with estrogen, the cells that depend on these hormones for stability can begin to grow irregularly, increasing risk without noticeable symptoms. For men, testosterone declines steadily after midlife. Many men think this only affects energy, strength, or mood, but low testosterone can also increase inflammation and metabolic stress. Those two forces together create an environment more vulnerable to cell changes that lead to cancer. I have watched many older men dismiss their symptoms as just getting older, not realizing these silent hormone shifts are shaping their long-term health. Thyroid hormones also play a major role. When they slow down, the whole body slows with them. Digestion becomes sluggish. Metabolism drops. Cells turn over more slowly. Every one of these changes increases the chances of mutation inside the cells. Some seniors feel cold more often or notice their weight changing for no clear reason. They do not see these as hormonal clues, yet they often are. Insulin, the hormone that controls blood sugar, becomes less effective with age. This resistance forces the body to produce more insulin than before, and high insulin levels have been linked to increased cancer development. Many seniors feel normal while this is happening. They may simply crave sweets more often or feel tired after meals, never realizing the deeper hormonal game taking place inside them. And then there is cortisol, the body's stress hormone. Constant stress, even low-grade stress, keeps cortisol elevated, and over time this weakens the immune system and fuels inflammation. Melatonin also decreases as we age. With less melatonin at night, the body loses part of its natural cancer defense system because melatonin helps suppress abnormal cell growth during sleep. Each of these hormone shifts is subtle. None of them arrive with flashing lights or dramatic warnings, but together, they reshape the environment in which cells grow, repair, and respond to damage. When hormones fall out of balance, cancer risk rises quietly, often without a single symptom strong enough to capture attention. And this is why, in the next section, we need to look closely at the signs seniors often ignore. Because hidden hormonal imbalance always leaves clues, even if they appear small or ordinary at first glance. Signs of hidden hormonal imbalance. Seniors ignore. As we move forward, I want you to take a gentle moment with me and look inward. Your body is always speaking, even when the messages feel faint. Hidden hormone shifts rarely arrive with dramatic symptoms. They show up quietly, through everyday discomforts that many older adults brush aside. And because these changes slip into daily life so gradually, most seniors never consider that these signals may be connected to increased cancer risk. One of the earliest signs is nighttime sweating. Many people over 60 laugh it off as something that simply happens with age. But recurring heat in the middle of the night can be a sign that estrogen, testosterone, or thyroid hormones are out of balance. When hormones swing unpredictably, the body's temperature regulation becomes unstable, and this instability can be linked to increased inflammation. Another common sign is belly weight gain. Seniors often blame it on slower metabolism or a few extra treats, but this type of weight often forms because cortisol remains too high or insulin becomes less effective. When these hormones shift, fat settles around the abdomen, sending powerful inflammatory signals throughout the body. Chronic inflammation is frequently involved in the earliest stages of cancer development, long before a diagnosis is ever mentioned. Sleep trouble is another overlooked clue. Whether it is waking frequently, falling asleep later than usual, or feeling unrested in the morning, disrupted sleep can reflect changes in melatonin or cortisol. Melatonin is one of the body's natural protectors against abnormal cell growth, and when its levels drop, the body loses part of its built-in defense system. Many seniors also describe irritability or mood changes, but rarely connect these symptoms to hormones. Hormonal imbalance affects neurotransmitters and stress pathways, and when these pathways are disrupted, emotional changes often appear before physical ones. Fatigue is perhaps the most dismissed sign of all. When someone over 60 feels tired, they almost always label it as ordinary aging. But persistent fatigue, especially when it lingers even after rest, may point to shifts in thyroid hormones, insulin, or cortisol. It can also reflect reduced cellular repair, which plays a role in early cancer development. Hair thinning, digestive trouble, and ongoing inflammation in the joints or muscles round out the most common overlooked signals. Individually, they may seem harmless, but when these signs repeat, especially over weeks or months, they are often indicators that hormones are sending out quiet distress signals. Your body is not trying to frustrate you. It is trying to guide you. These small, persistent symptoms are gentle warnings that something deeper is shifting. And recognizing them early is one of the most powerful ways to reduce cancer risk. Let's continue by exploring which cancers are most influenced by these hidden hormonal changes, and how seniors can recognize the early patterns that matter most. Cancers most influenced by hormone changes after 60. As we move deeper into this conversation, I want you to remember something important. Hormones are not just chemical messengers. They are the quiet conductors of nearly every function in the body. When they fall out of balance, especially after 60, the effects ripple through organs, tissues, immune defenses, and even the way cells repair themselves. And because hormones shift so gradually, many seniors never realize that these gentle changes can influence the development of certain cancers. Breast cancer is the most well-known example, but it behaves differently after 60. As estrogen declines, the protective balance between estrogen and progesterone becomes disrupted. This can make breast tissue more vulnerable to inflammation and abnormal cell growth. I remember one of my patients, a calm and thoughtful woman in her 70s, who believed a small change in breast texture was simply aging. She delayed her mammogram for a year, only to discover early-stage cancer. Thankfully, she recovered well, but her story is a powerful reminder that hormonal shifts quietly affect breast cells long before symptoms appear. Prostate cancer follows a similar path for men. As testosterone gradually declines, the prostate becomes more sensitive to inflammation and cellular stress. Many older men dismiss urinary changes as benign or embarrassing, not realizing these subtle changes may reflect shifts in hormones that allow cancerous cells to develop undetected. Colon cancer is another condition strongly influenced by hormones. Estrogen plays a supportive role in the health of the digestive tract, and as it decreases after 60, the colon becomes more vulnerable to chronic inflammation and slower cell turnover. When digestion feels sluggish, bloating becomes routine, or bowel patterns shift, many seniors chalk it up to aging. Yet these early changes can reflect a deeper imbalance influenced by hormonal decline. Pancreatic cancer also carries a hormonal connection. Insulin resistance becomes more common with age as hormones shift and metabolism slows. When the pancreas is forced to work harder, inflammation builds quietly around this delicate organ. Early pancreatic cancer rarely causes dramatic symptoms. It often begins with mild back discomfort, vague abdominal fullness, or unexpected fatigue. These understated signs make it one of the most frequently overlooked cancers in seniors. Thyroid cancer is another example where hormones play a role. As thyroid hormones fluctuate, the thyroid gland may become more prone to nodules or unusual cell activity. Many older adults overlook subtle throat pressure, voice changes, or a feeling of fullness when swallowing. But these early signs matter. Endometrial cancer also becomes more prominent after hormonal shifts in postmenopausal women. When progesterone levels fall sharply, the lining of the uterus may respond unpredictably. Spotting, pelvic discomfort, or changes in menstrual-like sensations should never be dismissed as simply getting older. Each of these cancers shares a common thread. They develop quietly, influenced by hormonal shifts that seem normal on the surface. The body whispers instead of shouts. And if those whispers go unheard, cancer can establish itself long before symptoms raise real concern. Up next, we will go deeper into the habits and lifestyle patterns that unintentionally make these hormonal changes more disruptive and increase cancer risk even more. Lifestyle habits that trigger hormonal imbalance. As we move forward, I want you to imagine your hormones as gentle, aging messengers. They still carry vital instructions to every part of your body, but after 60, they walk more slowly. They tire more easily, and the world around them affects how well they do their job. That is why certain everyday habits can quietly disrupt hormonal balance and create conditions where cancer risk rises without anyone noticing. One of the most common habits I see among older adults is starting the day with sugary breakfasts. A bowl of sweetened cereal, a muffin, or even flavored oatmeal can cause blood sugar to spike quickly. When this happens repeatedly, insulin becomes overworked and less effective. Over time, this insulin resistance raises inflammation and increases cancer risk. Many seniors tell me they choose these foods because they are easy or familiar, not realizing how deeply these choices affect their hormonal stability. Another silent disruptor is a sedentary lifestyle. Sitting for long stretches may feel comfortable, especially for joints that ache, but the body relies on movement to regulate hormones. When muscles stay inactive, metabolism slows and cortisol, the stress hormone, rises. High cortisol can interfere with sleep, weaken the immune system, and contribute to inflammation. I often think of a gentleman in his late 60s who believed walking only a few minutes a day was enough. Once he gradually increased his movement, his energy returned, his sleep improved, and his inflammation markers dropped. Late-night snacking also affects hormone balance more than many people realize. After 60, digestion slows, and the body prefers to focus on repair during the night. When food arrives late, insulin remains active, melatonin drops, and cells lose the chance to restore themselves efficiently. Over time, this weakens the body's natural nighttime cancer defenses. Chronic stress can be equally harmful. Many seniors carry emotional burdens quietly, believing stress is simply part of life. But long-term stress pushes cortisol levels higher and higher. Elevated cortisol disrupts thyroid function, increases inflammation, and interferes with proper estrogen and testosterone balance. I once worked with a woman who cared for her husband with dementia. She believed her exhaustion was just part of caregiving. After learning simple breathwork and short daily relaxation habits, her mood, sleep, and health improved dramatically. Poor sleep is another powerful disruptor. Melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating sleep, also helps protect the body from abnormal cell growth. After 60, melatonin naturally declines. When sleep becomes irregular, it drops even further, leaving the body with fewer defenses. Finally, lack of sunlight plays a larger role than people think. Sunlight boosts vitamin D, a hormone-like nutrient essential for immune health and cell regulation. Low vitamin D levels are strongly linked to higher cancer risk in older adults. All of these habits weave together more tightly than they appear. Small daily choices either support hormone balance or strain it, and those shifts influence cancer risk in ways most seniors never realize. Why doctors overlook hormone-related cancer risks. As we continue, I want to share something that many of my own patients find surprising. even though hormone changes after 60 play such a powerful role in cancer risk. These issues often go unnoticed in medical appointments. It is not because doctors do not care. It is because the system itself makes it incredibly easy for early warning signs to slip through the cracks. Most appointments for older adults are short. You may have only 15 minutes to discuss blood pressure, medications, aches, sleep issues, and whatever new symptom concerns you that day. Hormones rarely make it onto that list. Even when a senior feels off balance, tired, bloated, or moody, they often tell themselves it is simply part of getting older. Those subtler feelings never get mentioned, and so the hormonal story remains hidden. Another challenge is that early hormone imbalances look almost identical to everyday aging. Fatigue can be written off as poor sleep. Weight changes may be called normal metabolism slowdown. Mood dips are often attributed to stress or loneliness. Even signs like night sweats, brain fog, or digestive changes blend easily into a long list of common senior struggles. When symptoms overlap so closely, it becomes harder for doctors to recognize patterns that may signal deeper hormonal disruption. Time also works against us. Hormone shifts happen slowly. They do not arrive dramatically overnight the way a fever or injury does. They creep in quietly, gaining strength a little at a time. Because they unfold gradually, even significant changes can appear subtle, almost invisible. By the time a senior realizes something is truly different, the imbalance may have already influenced inflammation, cell growth, or cancer risk. There is another reason these issues get overlooked. Hormone testing is not part of routine checkups for older adults. Unless a patient brings up symptoms consistently, or unless the doctor sees a specific red flag, hormone levels often remain unmeasured. I remember a woman in her early 70s who struggled with intense fatigue for months. She blamed it on poor sleep and growing older. Only after repeated conversations did we check her thyroid and cortisol levels, and the results revealed a strong imbalance that had gone unnoticed for years. Many seniors also minimize their discomfort because they do not want to complain or burden anyone. They push through the fatigue. They ignore the digestive changes. They accept night sweats as their new normal. When symptoms stay hidden, doctors cannot connect the dots. This is why awareness is so important. When you understand how your body speaks to you, you give your doctor a clearer picture. You advocate more confidently. You protect yourself from risks that would otherwise stay silent. How seniors can restore hormone balance. Naturally. After understanding how easily hormone changes slip through the cracks, the next question many seniors quietly ask me is, what can I do about it? The encouraging truth is that your body is far more responsive than you may realize. Even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, small, thoughtful adjustments can help restore hormone balance and lower cancer risk in surprisingly powerful ways. Let me start with the simplest step of all, the foods you choose each day. Your body listens closely to what you put into it. When you fill your plate with anti-inflammatory foods, such as leafy greens, berries, fresh poultry, beans, and healthy fats, your hormones respond by stabilizing. The inflammation quiets. Blood sugar steadies. Cells become less stressed. I once worked with an older gentleman who replaced his sugary breakfast pastries with oatmeal, walnuts, and blueberries. Within a few weeks, his energy improved. His sleep grew deeper. And his lab work showed lower inflammation. The change was gentle, but it was real. Sleep is another powerful healer. As adults age, melatonin production naturally decreases, making restorative sleep harder to achieve. Yet good sleep is one of the strongest tools we have for regulating hormones. When you sleep better, your cortisol levels ease, your metabolism strengthens, and your immune system works more efficiently. Simple habits make a difference, like dimming lights earlier in the evening, keeping a regular bedtime, or using a relaxation routine that calms the mind before getting into bed. Movement plays a role too. You do not need intense workouts or heavy exercise. Gentle activities like walking, stretching, or light strength training tell your body to balance insulin, reduce inflammation, and protect muscle mass. I've seen seniors in their 70s regain steadier moods and better digestion simply by adding a 20-minute walk after dinner. Stress management is another quiet hero. After 60, the body becomes more sensitive to stress's hormonal effects. Deep breathing, soft music, prayer, meditation, gardening, or even a warm shower can reduce cortisol levels. These moments of calm help your entire hormonal network communicate more clearly. Sunlight also helps rebalance hormones by increasing vitamin D, which is essential for immune strength and cancer prevention. A few minutes outside each day can lift mood, support bone health, and assist with hormone regulation. Hydration ties everything together. When seniors drink too little water, hormones struggle to function properly. Staying hydrated helps detoxification, reduces inflammation, and keeps systems communicating smoothly. Supplements can be helpful when used wisely, especially vitamin D3, magnesium, and omega-3s. Many of my older patients benefit from these when paired with guidance from their healthcare provider. What matters most is not perfection. It is consistency, compassion for your body, and the willingness to listen. Your hormones may whisper, but they also respond beautifully to care. And every small step you take today strengthens your long-term protection. Real stories of seniors who reduced cancer risk by balancing hormones. One of the most inspiring parts of my work is witnessing how seniors transform their health when they begin paying attention to the quiet signals their hormones send. These changes rarely happen overnight. They begin with small moments of awareness and the courage to make one simple adjustment at a time. But the results can be life-changing. I remember a 72-year-old gentleman named Harold who came to see me after feeling unusually tired for months. He wasn't in pain, but he felt older than his age. His motivation was slipping. His sleep was shallow. His belly weight was creeping upward. At first, he brushed it off as normal aging. When we checked his hormone levels, his testosterone was low, his cortisol was elevated, and his inflammation markers were high. Instead of turning to aggressive treatments, we began with manageable lifestyle changes. He adjusted his breakfast to include protein, added short walks after meals, worked on a calming evening routine, and started vitamin D and omega-3 supplements. Within 3 months, Harold looked brighter, slept more soundly, and told me he felt like someone had turned his body back on. His inflammation improved dramatically, lowering his long-term cancer risk. Then there was Maria, a 78-year-old widow who struggled with persistent hot flashes and sudden mood swings long after menopause. She assumed it was just stress or loneliness, but deeper tests revealed hormone imbalances that were quietly affecting her metabolism and raising her risk for certain cancers. She didn't need a dramatic diet overhaul. She began adding more whole foods, especially leafy greens and berries, practiced gentle breathing before bed, and took a magnesium supplement to support better sleep. Little by little, the hot flashes eased and her mind felt steadier. When she returned for her follow-up appointment, her inflammation markers had dropped significantly. She smiled and said, "I feel like myself again." Her sense of control returned, and so did her hope. Another story that always stays with me involves a soft-spoken 80-year-old woman named Eleanor. She noticed she was waking up warmer at night and feeling more bloated than usual. These symptoms were subtle, almost forgettable. But something inside her told her they weren't normal. After running hormone and thyroid tests, we discovered early thyroid changes. Because she paid attention early, her condition was caught at a stage when it could be managed effectively. Her vigilance protected her from a much more serious diagnosis that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. These stories remind me of something I wish every senior could hear. Your body is always communicating. Even the softest signals deserve respect. When you listen early, act gently, and stay curious, you give yourself the best possible chance to protect your health. And now, as we move forward, let's talk about the steps you can take to detect hormone-related cancer risks early in everyday life. Practical steps to detect hormone-related cancer. Risk early. As we reach this final section of our journey together, I want to bring everything back to something simple, something deeply human. Your body is always speaking. Sometimes it whispers through small changes in mood, sleep, appetite, or energy. Sometimes it nudges you with subtle shifts that seem too minor to mention. But for adults over 60, these gentle signals can reveal more than most people realize. They can be the earliest clues that your hormones are shifting in ways that deserve a closer look. One of the most powerful things you can do is to start paying attention to your patterns. Not in a strict or overwhelming way, but in a gentle, weekly check-in with yourself. Notice how you've been sleeping. Notice whether your energy rises or falls more than usual. Notice whether your digestion feels predictable or suddenly different. A small note in a journal or a simple entry on your phone can help you recognize changes that are easy to overlook from day to day. If you see a new pattern that continues for more than a couple of weeks, give yourself permission to bring it up during your next doctor visit. You are not being dramatic or difficult. You are being wise. Hidden hormonal shifts often reveal themselves through repeated discomfort, unusual fatigue, changes in weight, or new inflammation. These shifts are worth discussing because hormones influence how cells grow, repair, and respond. When hormones fall out of balance, the environment inside the body becomes more vulnerable to abnormal cell growth. Early recognition can make all the difference. It is also helpful to pay attention to your appetite. Many seniors tell me they eat less simply because they are older, but sudden changes in hunger or a new dislike for certain foods can reflect hormonal shifts that influence cancer risk. The same is true for digestion. If constipation becomes more frequent, if heartburn appears more often, or if bloating continues despite eating normally, these signals deserve attention rather than dismissal. Do not underestimate the importance of regular medical appointments. Ask your doctor whether hormone testing might be appropriate for you. Simple tests can reveal thyroid changes, cortisol imbalances, or shifts in estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone that influence your overall cancer risk. You have every right to request clarity. You have every right to ask questions. You have every right to understand your own body. Most importantly, please remember this: listening to your body is not a burden. It is an act of self-respect. It is never too late to protect the years ahead of you. You deserve to feel safe, empowered, and informed. And by staying aware of these early signals, you give yourself the gift of time and the power of prevention. Now that we've explored how to recognize these changes, we'll bring everything together in a warm and encouraging closing message to guide you forward with confidence. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with something deeper than information. I want to leave you with a sense of peace, strength, and trust in your own body. Everything we discussed today comes back to one simple truth. Your body is not failing you. It is communicating with you. Every shift in energy, every change in sleep, every moment of discomfort is your body's way of asking for understanding and care. These hormonal changes after 60 are not signs of weakness. They are part of the story of a body that has carried you through so many seasons of life. What gives me hope, and what I hope gives you hope too, is that awareness can change so much. Small choices truly matter. What you eat, how you rest, what you pay attention to, and even the questions you ask your doctor can dramatically lower cancer risk. You are not powerless. You have far more control than you may realize, and your future health is shaped just as much by attention as it is by age. And through all of this, I encourage you to feel grateful for your body. It has fought for you, healed for you, protected you, and supported you every step of the way. Even now, at 60 or 70 or 80, it still responds to kindness. It still responds to nourishment. It still responds to love. You are not too old to change a habit or improve your health. You are not too old to protect the years ahead of you. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your trust means more than you know. And remember, you are never walking this journey alone. Senior Health Daily is here beside you, guiding you with compassion and clarity every step forward. If this message has helped you, please like, subscribe, and share so more seniors can stay informed, safe, and empowered. Your support truly helps others.